At the beginning of the story, we learn that a group of warriors called the Power Rangers were sent to Earth to protect the incredibly powerful Zeo Crystals. However, one of them, the Green Ranger named Rita, betrayed the team because she wanted the power of the crystals for herself. One by one, the Rangers were destroyed, but Zordon, the Red Ranger, used his strength to save the Zeo Crystal. He hid both the Power Rangers' powers and the Zeo Crystal deep within the Earth so that future protectors could one day find them. A few moments later, Rita appeared in front of her former teammate and demanded to know where the Zeo Crystal was hidden, but Zordon told her it was already too late. He then ordered his robotic assistant, Alpha 5, to send a massive meteor crashing onto the planet. The deadly meteor shattered Rita's staff and threw her into the depths of the ocean. At the same time, Zordon and the dinosaurs that lived on Earth were wiped out. However, the Zeo Crystal remained safe for millions of years. The story then shifts to the present day. A boy named Jason Scott is pulling a high school prank with his friend. He releases a live bull inside the school's locker room, but things quickly get out of control and the police are called. They spot Jason escaping in his father's truck, but while driving away, he crashes into another car. Luckily, he is not seriously injured. Still, because of what he did, Jason is placed under house arrest and sentenced to detention for the rest of the year. The next day at school, Jason meets Kimberly, a cheerleader, and Jason immediately notices that something seems different about her. Deep down, Jason had started to like Kimberly as well. Around the same time, we meet a very intelligent boy named Billy. However, a bully named Colt keeps harassing him. Jason steps in and tells Colt, "If you really want to fight someone, try fighting me instead." When Colt attacks, Jason easily dodges him and smacks him right across the face. Then he warns him not to pick on people for no reason. Billy is extremely impressed by Jason's courage, and Kimberly is too. After class ends, Jason is leaving the school when Billy catches up to him. Billy thanks him for the help and asks if he wants to hang out for a while. Jason refuses and shows him the electronic ankle monitor the police forced him to wear. Billy then offers him a deal. He says he can disable the bracelet, but in return, Jason has to drive him to the old mines outside the city. Billy promises that Jason can borrow his car afterward and drive around all night if he wants. Jason agrees, and a little later they arrive at Billy's house. Using his computer skills, Billy reprograms the ankle bracelet within seconds. Jason is finally free, so he decides to keep his promise and takes Billy to the mines. Inside the mine, Billy asks Jason for some help, but Jason tells him, "Look, man, I already did my part. Now I'm taking your car and going for a ride." However, while walking back to the car, Jason starts feeling guilty about leaving Billy alone. He turns around to help him after all. At that moment, he notices Kimberly jumping into a river near the mountain. When she doesn't come back up for a long time, Jason thinks she may have drowned. He rushes toward the water to save her, but Kimberly suddenly comes back up and looks shocked to see him there. She asks, "What are you doing here?" Meanwhile, inside the mine, Billy places a small explosive charge. As soon as it detonates, the mine walls begin collapsing rapidly. Hearing the explosion, Jason and Kimberly run toward the sound and find Billy, who luckily survived. A little later, Trini and Zack, who were passing nearby, come to check out the noise. Together, the group discovers a huge rock containing 5 strange coins embedded inside it. Zack grabs Billy's hammer and pulls the coins out. Each coin glows with a different colored light. Suddenly, they hear police sirens nearby. Jason quickly tells everyone to get into the car. Billy drives at full speed while trying to escape. As they race across a field, they spot a train approaching. Jason says that if they can cross the tracks in time, they'll lose the cops. But the car isn't fast enough, and the train crashes directly into them. At the exact same time, a group of fishermen out at sea catch something strange in their net. When they pull it up, they discover what looks like a human body that has been dead for years. The sailors have no idea what it is, but they decide to hand it over to the authorities. The next day, when they arrive at the city port and check on the body again, they discover that it's actually alive. It turns out to be Rita, the ancient villain from millions of years ago. She immediately kills the entire crew. Meanwhile, Jason, Billy and Kimberly wake up in their own rooms. None of them can understand how they survived the train crash. They don't even have a single injury, and the mysterious coins are still with them. That means the whole thing definitely wasn't a dream. When Billy goes to school, Colt tries bullying him again. He grabs Billy's arm and attempts to twist it, but Billy's arm doesn't even move. Then Colt tries headbutting him, but instead he knocks himself unconscious. After this incident, Billy suddenly becomes a lot more popular at school. Later, Kimberly and and Jason pull Billy aside to talk privately. The three of them show each other their red, blue, and pink coins, and Jason says these coins must contain some kind of magical power. Determined to uncover the truth, the three of them, the group returned to the mines once again, where they met Zack and Trini. They had found the black and yellow coins, and they too had gained incredible powers. Showing off their new abilities, they were able to climb a mountain with ease. The others followed, and once they reached the top, Zack decided to test his strength by leaping from one mountain peak to another. There was a massive gap between the cliffs, but he made it across effortlessly. After seeing Zack do it, Jason, Kimberly, and Trini also jumped across successfully. But when it was Billy's turn, he miscalculated the jump and ended up hanging from the edge of the cliff. Everyone panicked, but moments later they heard Billy yelling from below that the area underneath was actually safe. When the others jumped down, they landed inside an underground river hidden within a cave. While exploring the cave, Billy noticed a passage leading deeper underwater. After swimming through it, all five of them reached another section of the cave where they discovered an ancient spaceship that had been hidden for millions of years. The structure of the ship was completely sealed shut. However, Jason noticed that his coin started glowing as he approached it. When he held the coin near the ship, a hidden doorway suddenly opened. Curious about what was inside, the five teens decided to enter, but the moment they stepped in, Trini was grabbed by a robotic arm. Zack tried to save her, but a small android easily overpowered him. The robot introduced itself as Alpha 5. Seeing the five coins reunited made Alpha extremely happy, and he explained that they had been waiting a very long time for new warriors to appear. The five teenagers were completely confused about what was happening, but Alpha told them to step onto a platform because only someone else could answer all their questions. They followed his instructions, and as the platform lifted them upward, the spaceship activated. A panel opened in front of them, revealing the face of a man-like figure. Alpha explained that this was Zordon, one of Earth's ancient protectors from millions of years ago. Thanks to Alpha 5, a portion of Zordon's power had survived all this time, and now his consciousness controlled the spaceship itself. Zordon was shocked that the power coins had chosen five ordinary teenagers, but there was no time to waste. He explained that the world was in danger and asked for their help. Zordon then told them about the Zeo Crystal, a source of unimaginable power capable of creating life itself. The crystal was hidden somewhere near their city, and the Power Rangers' duty was to protect it at all costs. If it ever fell into the wrong hands, it could give someone enough power to destroy the entire world. To prove that he was telling the truth, Zordon placed the five teens into a hypnotic vision. In that vision, they saw their entire city completely destroyed. The person responsible for the devastation was none other than Rita. After the vision ended, Zordon warned them that Rita was returning, and only the Rangers could stop her from finding the Zeo Crystal. But before they could fight her, they first needed to learn how to control their powers through a special process called morphing. Hearing all of this, Trini thought the whole situation sounded insane and walked away. Zack, Billy, and Kimberly followed her out. Jason was about to leave too, but Zordon stopped him and said that the power coin had chosen him for a reason. He also revealed that he himself had once been the Red Ranger. Now, Jason had to lead the new Rangers and save the world before it was too late. Those words stayed in Jason's mind. Outside, he met up with the others who had been waiting for him. Kimberly asked him if he honestly believed any of this story. Even though he still had doubts, Jason decided to return the next day. He told the others that he would wait for them at the top of the mountain. As promised, Jason arrived at the location the following day and was happy to see that everyone else had already shown up. Together, the group headed back toward the spaceship once again. Zordon explained that in order to become Power Rangers, they first needed to learn how to morph. Inside each of their power coins was a powerful armor that had to be activated. However, the Rangers could only transform once they truly accepted their powers and became connected as a team. After explaining everything, Zordon instructed the five teens to stand on a circular platform called the morphing grid so their minds and bodies could synchronize. They all stepped onto the platform and tried to activate their powers, but they failed to connect with one another. As a result, the entire system shut down. This proved that they still were not ready to work together as a true team. Zordon then ordered Alpha 5 to take them to the training arena, where they would undergo intense combat practice without their armor. Once they arrived, a small android activated the training simulator and created several high-tech holograms that looked exactly like Rita's soldiers, known as Stone Men. Zack laughed at first and assumed they were harmless holograms that couldn't actually hurt him, so he rushed into the arena first. But he quickly realized the holograms holograms had physical bodies too. One powerful strike from a stone man knocked him straight to the ground. Alpha 5 explained that they would need days of brutal training before they would even have a 1% chance of surviving against Rita. Training began, but despite their enhanced strength, the group struggled badly against the hologram enemies. So Alpha taught them a special combat technique. Instead of attacking head-on, they needed to dodge enemy strikes, grab them from behind, and slam them to the ground. Jason and the others slowly started improving and became much better fighters. But even after all that practice, none of them were able to morph. To motivate them, Alpha 5 later took the team deeper into the cave system and showed them something incredible: the Zords. These giant machines were designed after prehistoric dinosaur-like creatures from ancient times. Alpha explained, "These are your rides." However, he also warned them that they would only be able to control the Zords after learning how to morph, because only rangers wearing their armor could properly summon and command them. After showing them the Zords, Alpha told everyone to continue training, but Zack secretly decided to test his Zord on his own. Predictably, things went horribly wrong. He couldn't control the massive machine, and the Zord went charging wildly down the mountain, completely out of control. After struggling for a long time, Zack somehow managed to bring the Zord back near the ship, but while crossing through the mountain walls, the machine nearly crushed his friends. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Jason became furious at Zack's reckless behavior and confronted him about it. Zack refused to listen, and the argument quickly turned into a physical fight right in front of everyone. Billy stepped between them and begged them to stop. Suddenly, Billy's armor activated by itself. Everyone stared at him in shock and asked how he did it, but Billy himself had no idea what had just happened. A few moments later, the armor disappeared again. Then Zordon's voice echoed through the ship, telling Billy to try morphing once more. But no matter how hard Billy tried, he couldn't do it again. Disappointed, Zordon canceled the day's training and angrily told them they still were not ready to become Power Rangers. Hearing this left the entire team discouraged. Later, Jason stayed behind to talk with Zordon inside the ship. There, he overheard Zordon speaking privately with Alpha 5. Zordon revealed that it was extremely important for the teens to activate the morphing grid, because without it, he would never be able to return to life. After hearing this, Jason accused Zordon of simply using them to get his own body back. Zordon tried to explain himself, but Jason refused to listen. He told Zordon that he believed in his team and that they could fight without his help. Outside the ship, Jason reunited with the others. Wanting to clear everyone's minds, Zack suggested that they all go camping together in the mountains. Meanwhile, Rita was at the shipyard, draining energy from people and absorbing it into herself. After regaining some of her strength, she went to a jewelry store and stole all the gold inside. Using the gold, she repaired her magical staff. Soon, a police officer arrived with a gun and ordered her to surrender. Rita refused without hesitation. The officer fired at her, but Rita healed within seconds, as if nothing had happened. She unleashed her powers, causing destruction everywhere, grabbed the remaining gold, and walked away. At the same time, our 5 heroes were sitting around a campfire in the mountains. Zack suggested that maybe they couldn't morph because they still weren't truly connected as a team. Just a few days ago, they had all been strangers. He proposed that they spend the night getting to know each other better. Zack began by sharing that he lived with his mother, who was seriously ill. He admitted that he was terrified of losing her someday. Then Billy revealed that he had gone to the mountains because it was his father's favorite place before he passed away years ago. One by one, the others opened up about their own struggles and fears. They slowly realized that despite their differences, they all had a lot in common. Later that night, Trini was at home when Rita suddenly appeared in her room and attacked her. Without her armor, Trini was no match for Rita's power, but instead of killing her, Rita offered her a deal. She said that if Trini betrayed her team and helped her find the Zeo Crystal, she would spare her life. Elsewhere, Jason was resting alone when Kimberly came over to talk to him. She confessed that maybe the reason none of them could morph was because of her. Out of jealousy, she had once leaked another girl's private photo at school, and ever since then, she had been carrying overwhelming guilt. She believed she didn't deserve these powers. Jason comforted her by saying that nobody should carry the burden of one mistake forever. He told her that she still had a chance to make things right and use her powers to do something good for the city alongside her friends. Just then, Trini sent a message asking everyone to meet at the school courtyard. When they arrived, Trini revealed that Rita had attacked her and tried to convince her to join her side. Jason immediately declared that he was going to fight Rita, whether they had their armor or not. The others agreed to stand beside him. Trini then revealed revealed that Rita was hiding at the old shipyard. The group armed themselves with metal pipes and chains before heading there. Inside, they found a man tied to a chair, just an innocent sailor Rita had captured. Suddenly, Rita appeared and attacked them with her staff. The teens tried fighting together, but Rita completely overpowered them and trapped them inside a ship. Rita demanded to know the location of the Zeo Crystal, but Jason insisted they had no idea where it was hidden. Furious, Rita began using her powers to torture Zack. Desperate to stop her, Billy shouted for Rita to let Zack go. Then he quickly lied and claimed that he had found a map inside the spaceship. According to his calculations, the Zeo Crystal was buried underneath a donut shop in the city. The moment Rita learned the location, she rushed away. But before leaving, she attacked Billy with dark magic, sending him flying straight into the ocean. As soon as the others escaped, Jason and the team pulled Billy out of the water. When Kimberly checked his breathing and heartbeat, she realized Billy was dead. Jason was devastated and blamed himself for everything. He told the others to take Billy back to the spaceship because maybe Zordon could still save him. Once they arrived, they explained the situation to Zordon, but Zordon sadly told them there was nothing he could do. Hearing that completely broke Jason. He admitted that it was all his fault because he had convinced everyone to fight Rita before they were truly ready. Kimberly reminded him that they had all made the decision together and that it wasn't only his burden to carry. She even said that if it were possible, she would gladly sacrifice herself to bring Billy back. The others agreed with her, and then suddenly, something inside the morphing grid began to react. Suddenly, the morphing grid reacted and a portal opened. This meant Zordon's physical body could finally return. But instead of restoring himself, Zordon reversed the ship's system and used the energy to bring Billy back to life in his place. When Billy opened his eyes, everyone was overwhelmed with happiness. Jason thanked Zordon for his sacrifice. By now, the 5 teens had truly become close friends. Jason declared that the time had finally come to morph. The team united their minds and bodies, and at last, they transformed into the Power Rangers. But there was no time to celebrate. Rita had gathered all the stolen gold and used it to summon a gigantic monster named Goldar. She also sent her Stone Men army to destroy Zordon's ship. Jason and the Rangers used a portal to return to the mountains, where Rita's army was already waiting for them. Jason pulled out a sword from his armor and charged into battle. But the enemies were overwhelming in number, so Zack rushed into the cave and returned with his Zord. The Black Ranger's Zord unleashed its power and wiped out the Stone Men. However, the real battle was only beginning. Rita and Goldar were now heading toward the city. Jason told everyone to summon their own Zords. Thanks to their armor connection, they were finally able to control them properly. Back in the city, the Rangers split up to guide civilians to safety. During the chaos, Jason spotted his father Sam searching for him on the streets. Suddenly, Goldar attacked, flipping Sam's car over. Jason jumped out of his Zord and fought his way to the wrecked vehicle. He pulled his father out and carried him to safety. For a moment, Sam felt like this mysterious warrior seemed strangely familiar, but Jason quickly returned to his Zord before he could recognize him. The Rangers launched several attacks against Goldar, but the monster was unbelievably powerful. Then the Pink Ranger took a huge risk. She used her Zord to launch Billy directly toward Rita. While flying through the air, the Blue Ranger activated his Zord's energy system and released a massive shockwave. The blast knocked both Rita and Goldar to the ground. When Rita was temporarily knocked unconscious, all the Stone Men she controlled instantly crumbled apart. Everyone thought the fight was finally over, but suddenly, Goldar rose back up and revived Rita. Then he slammed his fist into the ground, revealing the hidden Zeo Crystal buried beneath the donut shop. Rita was just about to grab the crystal when the Rangers stood in front of the crater and opened fire with their weapons. Even so, Goldar began destroying their Zords and pushed them toward the pit. Using all their strength, Jason and the others launched another attack, but they still ended up falling into the crater. Now, Rita and Goldar were only moments away from claiming the Zeo Crystal. But then, out of nowhere, an enormous machine appeared. The Rangers' Zords combined together into one massive warrior. Billy named it the Megazord. Rita wasn't afraid, though. She fused her own body with Goldar, becoming even stronger than before. The Megazord threw powerful punches and kicks, but Goldar kept fighting back. Then the Red Ranger reminded the team about the combat technique Alpha 5 had taught them during training. The Rangers dodged the enemy's attack, grabbed Goldar from behind, and slammed him hard into the ground together. The Megazord then drew its twin swords and struck Goldar with a devastating attack. Finally, the giant monster began breaking apart. Now weakened, Rita begged for mercy. The Red Ranger offered her one final chance. He told her to surrender and hand over the green coin line, promising they would spare her life. But Rita refused, so Jason ordered the Megazord to slap her away with a massive strike, exactly like the slap he had once given the bully back at school. The impact launched Rita into space like a rocket. Her body froze in the cold vacuum, and she was left drifting endlessly through space forever. At last, the battle was over. The Power Rangers had saved both their city and the entire world. People everywhere celebrated the mysterious heroes, though nobody knew their true identities. A few days later, the team returned to their normal lives, knowing the world was finally safe again. Jason later returned to the spaceship and left his sword behind there. Before leaving, he promised that if the world was ever in danger again, he would return whenever the world needed him again. Later, Jason went back to school for detention once more, but this time he wasn't alone. His friends were right there beside him. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.